I'm Olesia Korobka, and this is SEO in 2025. Hi.
Olesia, what's your number one SEO tip for 2025?
In short, my tip is to return back to basics, to fundamentals, and start all over again and be very, very specific in what you are doing without those vague explanations and maybe without even AI or something that is fashionable right now, but just do basic stuff, do heavy lifting, and do fundamentals in the best way possible.
So what are the basics and fundamentals that you talk about?
I'll start from the beginning. We've had something like a small revolution recently in SEO with this AI introduction and many new concepts and many new shiny tools. And to be honest, these newish concepts oftentimes appear to be very old concepts that were remarketed in a new way, but people whose goal is to sell you something, usually most of the time, not always, but most of the time. And sometimes that's not what you really need. Not always, again, but sometimes. I know that being basic doesn't sound as sexy as when you sell something with AI, but basics really work. And it's very hard to fool people there because you either know what you are doing and how to do that, or you don't. What's good about basics is that you will always know the outcome of what you are doing, and you always know what to expect and how much time it takes and how much it costs. And also, you know, all the specifics involved. And because it's so popular to say right now, something like write content that is human first or people first, it should be helpful to users, but what does it really mean? Especially for SEOs. When you say SEO, that you need human first content from them. How will they measure if they are successful or not? And how do they create it in the first place? How will you understand that you've achieved your goal, or how will you understand that you did not? So I say that start with your goals and expectations from the user. What is the goal of your website? What do you expect from them? What you're going to get, and set KPIs and say how you will measure that. Do you really need lots of content? Do you need to cover the topic in full, like it was fashionable last year, for example? We know all these topic authority concepts and all these kind of things, but do you really need to talk about what something is or Wikipedia-style articles that much? Or do you just need to sell what you are selling, be that furniture, be that books, be that some kind of service? When you answer those questions, you'll understand how customers or clients will find you and how to make it happen. By basics and fundamentals here, what I mean, it's doing technical parts in full. For example, look even into robots.txt. I know how basic that may sound, but what I found out that sometimes people fail to do that properly, and the crawler starts scanning their website somewhere where they should not be doing that, or something is blocked in robots.txt, and that's why their website doesn't perform well. Fix that. Check if you have the backups. 2 years ago, I've given a tip about that here with you. And then you might want to use your database that you've created last year, what we've discussed here again. So just build your factual database and create content based on it. It will be trustworthy and dual facts, and you create your content based on your potential users' questions, and you just answer them. Pretty basic as it sounds. I'm sorry if that's not what you expected, but I know that it's fashionable right now to go into AI tool, pull some keyword there or topic or something else and generate lots of content and put it on your blog and sit and expect something. Like, it's not how it works this year, and I'm afraid that this will have to be changed.
Shall we talk a little bit about the issues that you're seeing on websites nowadays, the common issues that you're seeing with SEOs and other website managers not implementing the basics correctly? So maybe starting off with technical SEO, what would you say are the technical SEO issues that you are seeing commonly on websites at the moment?
I see lots of misunderstanding between content SEO and technical SEOs because Google tells us we do understand the code well. You don't need to do something specific about your HTML. We'll understand everything. And that it's quite ambiguous because people then think that Google will understand if they have lots of H1s or if their content is not properly structured, but it's not the case. Actually, I've tested it for a long time. And when your content is structured and when you have right HTML tags in place, it performs better compared to when it's not. I see lots of problems with structured data. It's often incorrect. People use incorrect IDs in structured data. People have problems with their robots and with their sitemaps. And I've seen a lot of pages which don't exist on the website being in the sitemap. And I've seen important pages being blocked in robots. And I've seen some pages that should not be available and not blocked in robots and these kind of things. And lots of problems with meta tags and lots of problems with HTML tags, basic tags, like H1, H2 headings. Because everyone started generating these pieces of content, and sometimes they even do generate the markup in AI, in ChatGPT, and sometimes they do generate HTML code in ChatGPT or something like that, and they just don't even read it and place it on the website. Because the results may be disastrous for the business. I've seen blogs of businesses that got fully de-indexed because of these type of things, and there is pretty basic sometimes.
And you also talked a bit about the user as well, ensuring that the user's goals were met. So how do you actually start defining the goals that you set up?
Because you need to sell something. So in the first place, why do you have a website, or why does business have a website? It's pretty easy. The goal is mostly commercial. They want to sell you something, or if it's a news website, they want you to buy something from using the affiliate links on your website or by consuming the ads on your website. So it's still selling points. So you need them to perform some kind of action. Define what action you want them to perform and make it easy for them to do. And how will they do that? And why will they do that on your website? And also bear in mind that if you are affiliate or if you are selling ads or something like that, that now you're competing not only with other websites, but also with Google, because Google wants to do that instead of you in many cases. It's getting a bit trickier for these type of businesses. But if you are a normal business like software as a service or some consumables or products, it would be easier for you. You just need to sell this product and you just need to market it accordingly in search. Work close with your marketing team and you get their brand positioning, brand book, and what questions consumers have, and all these trials and all these researches. I hope you have that. So, and that's it. You look less at maybe keywords or some topics and at some tools. You maybe don't use AI a lot, if at all. You just work directly with the data from your marketing team.
And you also like to set a funnel that you'd like users to follow towards your goal.
It's again, when you are doing that in SEO, it's quite tricky. You first of all start by optimizing for the keywords which are closer to the bottom of the funnel. And you are not necessarily always successful in moving from the very first, like how is it called? Yeah. And so it might be tricky. And what I often see this year and in the years before is that people start in SEO. They start from the very top of the funnel. They never start from the bottom and they never convert. I've seen blogs, which I had to recover, which had like visitors that never made any purchase on the website at all. They visited blog and they bounced and they never returned to make a purchase. That is problematic because like you show a successful graph where your content is growing and everyone is happy and you can post it in social media and say, see how well I perform on that site. But these users, they don't actually bring any money to a business and So I'd suggest, yes, building a funnel is a very nice thing to do, but just start from the bottom, start converting at least something. And Google will show you because people are searching for your product or for your service in Google, unless you're affiliate or something like that. And Google will show your product in the search results if you optimize it.
And what about the users that you want to target? How do you decide on the users that you want to visit your website?
It's, again, in the marketing team, they say build your brand. I like the concept of branding and everything else, but it sounds very tricky for an SEO. How can an SEO build a brand? And they always tell you, don't build backlinks, build a brand. How do you build a brand without any backlinks? So I think that the brand concept and users concepts are very connected because the brand is created for some cohort of some category of the users. And that's where you work closely with your CMO or other people involved in the business if it's a small business, or if you are a solopreneur, so you decide yourself who your brand targets and who it's relatable to and why they buy it. So all these questions, they are basic and they all go round and round the same set. Who will buy it, why they buy it, and how to help them buy it from you, not somewhere else. So I think it's if anyone finished university, it's the first course in marketing 1, something like that.
Marketing 101, yeah. And let's just touch briefly on content, on maybe how you format content and also what you do with content that isn't really working. So first of all, how do you format your content to make it as appealing as possible on the SERP?
We have different types of content. We have the landing pages, and we have informational pages, which are closer to the bottom of the funnel or closer to the top of the funnel. And like you say, we are building this funnel. When you are describing a product, you want to represent it with as many features as possible. And you are doing it for you optimizing for an entity SEO. So you have this entity, which is your product or your service or whatever, and you provide it with the properties of this product in a way that is consumable for your user through the web page or through the application where you do that. So your description of the product will be their properties, and when you format it as a properties, you or use the HTML tags that Google will understand that this is a property of this entity. It's very hard in hands, but for example, you make your product in H1 and you say that it's a product and you use structured data to say that it's a product. And then you use the properties as the subheadings or as lists or as tables. And you construct your DOM in a hierarchy so that it's readable for the user. It's not too overloaded or technical for the user, but at the same time, with these tags, you form it so that the search board also perceives it adequately for you. It understands that this list belongs to this subheading, and this is the property of this entity. And then this entity is related to another entity, which Google said is very important when you show them that the product is related to another product, and in what way. Is it a parent product? Is it a child product? Is it accessory? Or is it a sub-product or whatever else? So it's very easy to construct with basic HTML tags.
And the second part of my previous question was talking about content that you don't necessarily need. So what do you do when a client approaches you, you look at their website and they've got a lot of content that perhaps isn't bringing in the right type of user? What do you do with that content?
I look at how it performs most of the time, especially this year. What I found out is, previously, when you had lots of, so to say, poor quality content, you may lose all your rankings, even for your landing pages, even for your commercial pages. What I'm seeing this year is that sometimes Google just ignores your blog entirely, but it doesn't negatively affect your product pages, which is a nice way of them to do that. So it changed a bit. So it's not so horrible right now, but it's still not good because you're spending money on the content and efforts and all that things. So what I look at its performance. Sometimes it's the poor quality content, but it performs quite well in search for different reasons. And in this case, you just need to slowly substitute it with something normal, not to kill it entirely, but just to. But if it doesn't perform at all, like you can kick it out of your of the blog and to start creating something good. Quality, normal content for users and for this business, because you don't only create the content for users, you create it for the business as well, for them to have this mutually beneficial relationship on your web page.
If an SEO is struggling for time, what should they stop doing right now so they can spend more time focusing on the basics in 2025?
I'd suggest stop making AI gibberish and poisoning all these kind of things that it's so popular right now. Stop using all those AI generating tools that are producing really low quality results, and just focus on something that you might have missed while you were too attracted to these shiny new objects. And look again at your website, look at your DOM, look at your structure, look at how your pages are related between each other, and if you have these internal links in place, if you have this good structure, both your website and your pages.
Olesia Korobka is an SEO entrepreneur, and you can find her over at fagella.com. Olesia, thanks so much for being part of SEO in 2025.
Thank you for inviting me.
I've been your host, David Bain. Get your copy of SEO in 2025, the book, over at SEOin2025.com.